back at it again, baby, and we got another one with Candace Owens. Let's dive in.
Not only that, then increasingly you're telling women to be the opposite of what I think men want, right? The opposite, maybe in the instant when men are not thinking with their big heads and they're saying, oh, whoa, she's half naked, great, I'm going to go for it. That might be what a man wants. But long term, that's not what a man wants. A man doesn't want a girl that's just going to be naked all the time and put herself out there available for every man to see. You know, that I don't have to be a man to know that that's not what men want. So then you say men suck. And I ask this question all the time. You complain about men, but are you being the type of a woman?
Fellas, I got to pose a question to y'all on that topic. I know me personally, I'm not a fan of it. Would you date a chick that was posting scantily clad pictures on Instagram? Those pictures where you kind of know like she's trying to get a little bit of attention. Y'all let me know in the comment section. How y'all feel about it, fellas? And ladies too, how y'all feel about the fellas, posting shirt off, six-pack showing? Y'all know the thirst traps, so to speak. The pictures where you kind of know the person wants a little bit of attention. How y'all feel about your significant other posting pictures like that?
Woman that a man would want. You know what I always say? Experiment with both and tell me what makes you feel better. And that is the truth when it comes to young women, because I dedicated my first episode to young women and really talking to them about these are the options that are being presented to you. Less. Take off more clothes, do the most to get attention, right? If you think that that's freedom, the idea that you have to wear less and the idea that you have to get naked to be heard, you really think that's a form of freedom? Because that's slavery, that's bondage. I didn't have to take off my clothes to be heard in society. And these women will realize that when you follow these people that are self-imposed feminists, I'm a feminist, I do this, I'm a feminist, you hear that word over and over and over again, you'll find that the majority of them are miserable. Look at their lives and ask yourself a question. Do you think they are happy? Do you feel good when you do what they do? Right? When you're constantly looking for a dopamine hit from social media because you took your clothes off and you want somebody in your comments, a thirst trap with your ass out, right?
It's exactly what I just said, a thirst trap, looking for a little bit of attention.
And you want someone in your comments going, oh, you slay, bae. You slayed the day, bae. Hashtag Tuesdays, am I right?
Yeah.
And you do the stuff for attention and you're devaluing yourself. And at the end of the day, you don't actually feel good and it's not going to bring you happiness, right? So yeah, you can get guys sliding in your DM. You can get guys telling you look good. You can get guys that want to sleep with you. How many of these people actually get guys that want to stay with you?
They're there to sleep with you and be out. It's that simple. For the most part. Of course, you're going to have your outliers and whatnot. But for the most part, you posting, half naked pics. Dudes, we got a lot of testosterone, so we don't think with this head, we think with the other one, so.
Right? Or not in somebody else's DM. The same way that you found him is the same way he's going to find somebody else because we are increasingly becoming a part of a society that's ADHD. You want to know why our grandparents stayed together? Because they weren't looking at ass cheeks all day on Instagram and refreshing it and going, oh, well, that girl looks younger, that girl looks better, that girl's face tuned, and I think that is what these young women that they're following are telling them. You've got 13-year-olds getting lip injections, right? Because they want to look like Kylie Jenner. Again, not a shot to Kylie Jenner, but what society have we created that ever made Kylie Jenner feel like she had to go out and buy those lips, that she had to contour her entire face and change her entire body? She was already a beautiful little girl. So the society is ill. It's not normal, right? Don't let these people convince you that that's normal. That's cancer. And
I'm sorry, I got to stop it again. I know I've paused it several times already, but I got to touch on that. And I touched on this in the Bill Burr reaction. This is just my opinion. I don't even think those lip injections be looking good. Let your natural lips show. If you got thinner lips, that's cool. Let them show. And you kind of know when somebody has lip injections, like there's just something that doesn't look right. I don't know. Maybe I've just seen all bad lip injections. I don't know. I've always preferred the natural look. I've even talked about that with boobs. Let them natural A cups show, baby. I'll take some natural A's over some fake D's, but that's just my personal preference. Y'all can let me know how you feel about it in the comment section, please. Let me know if I'm the only one. Let me know.
That cancer will become contagious to you if you accept that. You don't follow better role models.
It seems to me a lot of women, when they hear conservative values, the trigger to them, and I could be wrong, the trigger to them, it seems as, bondage, go back in the kitchen, shut up and just, just be a slave to your husband. Why do you feel like there's so much of when they're hearing about some of the things that you say, like what makes you happy is making your husband a sandwich, some people like that sounds crazy, right? So why do you think there's such a disgust, such a rejection of that kind of idea of that kind of woman in regards to modern society?
Because we're being brainwashed via the education system.
Okay.
You learn feminism in school, right? You learn feminism. I had to actively
define
learn it.
And for clarification, how do you define feminism?
I can tell you how they define it and what it actually is, right?
Go
So
ahead.
feminism in school, when you learn it, is you're just fighting against the patriarchy, and you're supposed to see the patriarchy everywhere. It's the same way that critical race theory and race is being taught. The idea is they're not actually teaching you anything but how to hate white people when you're learning about race in school. And when you are learning about feminism, they're not actually teaching you anything other than how to hate men and to see the patriarchy and men putting you down everywhere, right? So when you have that form of psychological conditioning taking place in the school system, you're producing women that see the patriarchy everywhere. It becomes like a paranoia, right? Oh my God, if asked me to make a sandwich, I'm not gonna make a sandwich, and then that's it, I'm trapped. And they're actually not realizing that there actually was an incentive behind you even being taught that. You've never actually lived the life of making a husband a sandwich, and they think that's going to send you back and suddenly you're going to lose your voting rights and you're not going to be able to go get work. You know, there was a time when there was a need for feminism, first wave feminism, right? But first wave feminists would want nothing to do with third wave feminists, which is where we're at today, right? Women that think that actually first wave feminists, you could argue, envied men. Right? They wanted to be able to go to work. They wanted to have that option to be something outside of the home. Right? Now we have that option, and we're being told the exact opposite, which is that everything in the home is bad. And that's what you call throwing out the baby with the bathwater. There are some really amazing things. I think the best things that come from being at home. Sometimes I think we got the bad end of the deal. Right? I'm like, wait, we got to stay at home and do nothing and spend our husband's money, and somebody complained?
Yeah.
That's a joke, guys.
That's a joke. But no, and to me, I think that's the part where, you know, I've unfortunately seen that happen so much in society, that there's such a mischaracterization to me of what people think as stay-at-home mothers and traditional women. There's such a mischaracterization, like these women were prisoners,
right?
You know, and so whereas, like you said, I think first wave feminism wanted women to have a choice, but then third wave, the choice is gone. You must choose what we want for you.
Exactly,
right?
what we want is you need to be top 40 Forbes company, a corporation. If you don't have that, then you somehow failed. And I'm like, that is so backwards and so wrong. And it also goes against biology. You know, it goes against biology. There's a reason, biological underpinning to everything that we have in the society. People keep trying to outthink biology. It doesn't work that way, right? There's a reason, you know, women can carry children and men can't. So that instantly allows man to have different goals in terms of the workforce than women, because that means we have to make a decision. Do we have children? Or continue working in our career, or try to juggle both. Men don't have that same pressure, and it's not their fault. They didn't design this. You know, men weren't like, well, I have an idea. Let's not be able to carry children. Only let women be able to do that. And so there's the biological reality of that. And increasingly, you see women that go for it in terms of their career because they have the societal pressure, and then it's too late. And then they realize, wow, this job is not making me happy. But my gosh, can I just tell you as a new mom what you feel like when your son smiles at you? Like, you know, when your baby looks up at you, there's no greater feeling of accomplishment. Like there is none. I have accomplished a lot in my life in terms of my career. And I can tell you there is nothing that satisfies me more than just my baby smiling at me. And we're taking that away from women because we're telling them that's the wrong aspirations to have in life.
Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Seeing your kid smile at you is just one of the best feelings ever. It truly is. And it's one of those things that you can't really describe. Like, you just have to experience it. It's just one of those things. Like, I'm getting goosebumps literally just thinking about it. It's crazy.
Another thing that I've noticed going on in society is that there is a lot of cynicism towards men as well. And you've talked about it, you know, as well on your show and on different platforms. And I've noticed that a lot of women...
I need to look that word up. Cynicism. Give me just a second. Okay, so cynicism is an inclination to believe that people are motivated purely by self-interest. So cynicism towards men is thinking men are just motivated. All men are just motivated to help themselves, basically, is what I think we're about to dive into.
You know, as well on your show and on different platforms. And I've noticed that a lot of women, similar to like what the media does, it projects such a negative, cynical view of men in society, of men are going to take advantage of you, they're going to beat you, they're going to, you know, get you pregnant and leave you. There's such a negative view of men. So for women who may have a negative view of men because of maybe personal experience, whether their father may have not been there or because of whatever society painted to them, how would you encourage them? How would you motivate them to not be as cynical and to be more optimistic when it comes to men?
I think it's a self-perpetuating problem, meaning that there are crappy men in the world, right? But men are crappy because we've created a system where manhood has become obsolete. You keep increasingly telling men more and more they can't matter. When I say, who are they being told that by? You know, they're, like I said, there's more sinister implications here of why we're making manhood obsolete. When we're saying masculinity is wrong, this is backwards. You don't need a man. You can just have a baby without a man. You're starting to see that sort of programming happening with young women. When you're telling women to act like men, you should aspire to the things that men naturally might aspire to. When you remove the more natural feeling of men being providers and women being nurturers, which is a beautiful yin and yang that just works, right? So you're creating men to feel obsolete, and then women are complaining because men aren't being men. You know, it doesn't work that way, right? And not only that, then increasingly you're telling women to be the opposite of what I think men want, right? The opposite, maybe in the instant when men are not thinking with their big heads and they're saying, oh, whoa, she's half naked, great, I'm going to go for it. That might be what a man wants. But long term, that's not what a man wants. A man doesn't want a girl that's just going to be naked all the time and put herself out there available for every man to see. You know, that I don't have to be a man to know that that's not what men want. So then you say men suck. And I ask this question all the time. You complain about men, but are you being the type of a woman that a man would want, right? It's a self-perpetuating problem. And then you say that and they, oh my God, Candace is a horrible human being. And I'm looking at you going, I'm not a dude. I wouldn't date you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, again, self-perpetuating problem. Not enough women calling out the fact that women are not desirable right now, in my opinion, right? They're sexually desirable, but I wouldn't want to take you home to mom desirable. And then you have men who are you know, being hit over the stick and being told, man, bad, masculinity, bad, who need to be told, no, stand up, you know, tuck your shirt in, right? Be a leader, be what a man is supposed to be. And that dies when we're not even allowed to say man and woman anymore. And that gets me into the transgender, and I could rant for 3 hours on that. So.
No, Candace, I like this. And that.
There's a lot of women who aren't traditional women, but want men to be traditional men. You know, what a man is supposed to be, but yet the women aren't traditional themselves. So how does that work? You know, it's kind of like a double standard here. But maybe I'm wrong. Y'all let me know in the comment section.
To me is a direction where I was trying to get to today. Because the first part that I was thinking about was that it appears to me that a lot of the critiques that can appear to be personal is not really an attack on an individual, right? And none of us are perfect. Sometimes I say it the wrong way. Sometimes you say things the wrong way. None of us are perfect. But one thing that I think you're passionate about is that you're seeing that some of these ideas that are being projected in society, how they're negatively affecting the next generation, especially as it pertains to our children, especially your child. And so I think that's something in which I definitely agree with you that unfortunately in today's society, there's such an unhealthy culture, especially amongst men and women, especially amongst men. That's why we do what we do at the Roommates, trying to uplift and build better men, because we see that society creates so many unhealthy messages. And it's funny that you mentioned that point where when you think about how women were once soft in the past, traditionally, right? Generally speaking, and men were considered to be hard and tough. Now it's kind of flipped in inverse, right? Now that the women are projected to be these hard, tough individuals, and now these men are now created to be soft pillows, and you see them on college campuses, right?
Right.
But then, like you said, I love your point that you mentioned. You said try both out. Right? So try what the society says in regards to being a man, and then try the alternative way, the more excellent way about masculinity, taking responsibility, being more ambitious, driven, all these things. And men all the time tell me that they're so much more happier doing it the other way than following what society has communicated to them.
Yeah, and it's like, why is society communicating to men to be more feminine at the same time that you're telling women to be more masculine, right? That's like, just take a step back and think. You don't have to like Candace Owens to take a step back and to go, that is kind of weird, right? It is a bit weird that you're telling men, oh, all displays of masculinity are wrong and you need to be more feminine, and telling men they can bend gender and do all of these things, while at the same time you're saying to a woman, you need to man up, you need to provide, you need to do this, you need to do that. That tells you that there's something satanic going on, right? And there's something, and this is why I go back to saying that the Bible has so much knowledge. Satan is the author of lies and deception. What more deception than telling women and men that there are no differences between them?
What bigger lie than telling men and women that there aren't any differences between them. We also have to teach people, and I thought about this towards the end of the video. I just wanted to let it play out before, I paused it. We also have to teach people not to be so gullible. And the way that I see it is stop following the crowd so much. Sometimes, yeah, it may be the right decision to follow the crowd. But at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you can live with that decision. And the way that I see it, we should all do what makes us happy, simple and plain. That's the way that I see it. But once again, maybe I'm wrong about this whole situation. Y'all let me know how you feel about it in the comment section below. Like, share, comment, and of course, hit that subscribe button before you go. And hit that bell button next to it so you know when all these videos drop daily. All right? Peace and love. I'm out.